Hey guys, so this is the first video I'm making in a mini cooking series for you guys to watch, if you choose, if you have time. I'm attempting to make sourdough. Who knows how that will go? There's a lot of steps to making sourdough, so I've done a lot of the stuff already. Like you have to make a sourdough starter. A sourdough starter you make with flour and water, and you have to work on it for a week. So every day I've been adding some flour and some water to this sourdough starter because it turns it into a yeast you can use. Yeast makes bread rise, and it's a living thing. There's yeast starter, like the things that activate it, they're in the flour, they're in the water, they're on your hands. So when you mix these things together, yeast will live. So as you can see, I don't know actually if you can in this, but the top of this is very bubbly, which shows that it's a living thing, and it kind of has a smell to it like sourdough bread. So that's the starter that I made, and it just stays covered, and I feed it on my counter like a pet. Think of it that way. And yesterday I made a leaven. And the leaven has a little bit of this sourdough starter in it. And then I added more water and flour to it so that I could start up a base for my dough. The leaven, when it's ready, is very bubbly on the surface. This is very bubbly. You can't see it because it's in this bowl, but it is. Okay. Over here, I have a very small scale. And in this scale, I weighed out 50 grams of salt. In other countries except for America, they weigh things in grams. And this is a very specific form of measurement. So I have the perfect amount of salt in here, hopefully, to make this bread. Now here's the thing. I don't know how this bread's going to go. I've never made it before. So I'm trying to follow the recipe as specifically as possible. Like I left this out overnight. I just measured this. I'm doing everything. So this is hopefully correct. Let me check my recipe. All right, this I did, this I did, this I did. Okay, so this I have to dissolve, and I have to put it in a small bowl of water to make sure it melts and becomes salt water. So and every now and then, I just have to stir this up and make sure it's dissolved. And I'm just going to put it on my counter because it just needs to sit and dissolve. All right. So now I have to mix leaven with water. Now I need exactly 475 grams of water. So I'm putting this on here. Set my thing to 0, and now I'm going to pour until my scale says 475 degrees. In the kitchen at school, all right, so I'm at 245. This is too small. Should have thought of that. Okay, so I need 230 after this. I realize I'm totally blocking your view, but that was a very strange moment for me in that leaven. Okay, so I'm going to go for 230 grams. 231 grams, I'll take it. So now I have to go get a spatula, and I have to mix this. So I want to dissolve this leaven into the water. It says it's okay if some clumps stick around. If If you are interested, my spatula has dinosaurs on it. Wow. Okay, so I did that. All right, add the flour. It's going to form a very shaggy dough. Shaggy is normally a word I would use to describe a dog, but you know, in this case, maybe it's going to describe dough. All right, so let's see. I need, according to my recipe, 700 grams of flour, which would be about 5.5 cups. Since I'm trying to be so precise, I'm going to measure it. So I'm going to put my bowl on here, set it again to 0, immediately forget how many grams I said I needed. 700 grams. Oof. All right. Wish myself luck. Imagine if this doesn't turn into like a nice sourdough and I just made this video and showed you guys. Well, you know, learn from my mistakes. We'll figure it out. I'll just make more sourdough until I get this right. I have another thing of flour, and I could also make oat flour out of oatmeal. So, I mean, it wouldn't have the same consistency, but we will do what we must. So this is wow, halfway there. Wow. 700 grams. All right. Almost there. And then I'm going to put it in a bigger bowl because I should have realized in the first place. See, you live, you learn. You make mistakes. You watch Michelle's mistakes, and then you don't make them. I don't know if you guys can hear, but it's raining out. I'm so close. I'm a grandma. All right. So let me pour this into a bigger bowl and hopefully not make a mess. Fingers crossed. Okay, so this is my biggest bowl. Ah, I actually did not do a bad job. All right, now this has to go in here. All of it. Get on in there. Go ahead. This is going to make 2 loaves of sourdough. I just had a little flour on the counter and I didn't want to put my sleeve in it, so now I get to mix this. And I don't want this dough to, it smells really good. Can't wait for this to turn to bread. Okay, I can see how this dough could be described as shaggy now that it's coming together. If I were writing a recipe, I don't know if I would use the word shaggy, but I can see how this is a shaggy dough. I'm sorry, I know I keep giggling, but I never thought that I would be attempting to make sourdough and recording it. Wow. Oh, wow. This is coming together pretty nicely. Knocking on wood for luck. That's what that means. And I'm just gonna, I'll get this off the sides. I'm gonna do that. Would you look at this? Don't worry, I'm not gonna have you guys start baking sourdough when we go back. I honestly don't know if, I have like a little bit stuck in me, if our classroom would be able to support the yeasty life in there because it gets so cold at night. I think it would just kill it every time. I keep it in a warm spot in my kitchen. Would you look at that? All right, so I have my dough. Now the next step is I have to cover this. So I'm gonna get a towel and cover it. And then it just has to sit for 4 hours. So this is my next step. Will it be sourdough? Fingers crossed for me.